but there is no doubt they are also changing the world. To understand how and what it means for your business, grab a seat and attend this session, which is based on AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and the difference between hype and truth. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Krishnan Raman, CEO of Futura. Joining him is Kayesh Vora, CEO Lucep, and the interviewer for this session, Sumit Chakrabarti, India editor, TechInAsia. Can we all clap loudly and put our hands together for this session, please? Thank you.
Hi, we are in for a treat. I have two very experienced and highly qualified founders with me in two new age technologies which are all the buzz this year, IoT and AI. Krishnan Raman was with Mindtree, where he handled very large scale projects like Aadhaar before founding Futura, which helps some of the world's biggest equipment makers use IoT to make their industrial machines smarter. Kayesh Vora, he's using artificial intelligence. Firstly, he studied artificial intelligence in Edinburgh University, which has one of the best AI labs in the world. His startup, Lucep, is using AI in an everyday thing like helping salespeople get smarter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Krishnan first, and then Kayesh, and then we will have a chat about how AI and IoT can work together. I mean, they have a lot in common as well. Krishnan, your co-founder, Derek Jones, described what you do as a Fitbit for machines. It helps to monitor their health, manages breakdowns better, helps them run better, and in the process saves a lot of medical bills, so to speak, for these big equipment makers. Can you give an example from one of your clients why that's such a big deal for them?
So, Derek actually, who's my co-founder, is one of the top 10 technology wizards that you can go ahead and talk about this. So, he has this analogy. It says that industrial Internet of Things is all about being actually a Fitbit for machines. Any idea, any show of hands, how many of you are actually connected with the industrial Internet or know about the industrial Internet? That shows hardly some 10% of the folks actually who are around really talking about it on this, because it's not supposed to be very cool. Industrial Internet is all grease. So I keep actually telling Sumit, saying that actually we are all grease people. Think of us as actually those service engineers who are going ahead and actually having grease all over the face. But any one of you, can you pull out a number that 1 hour, one of our customers who is there in Houston, if his machine doesn't work, how much it will impact?
$1 billion.
It is $30,000 to $220,000 per hour of downtime. When you are pumping oil, your machine actually could be worth anything, but if for 1 hour, if you are not going ahead and actually pumping the oil out, that is the impact, and that is the economic impact that we are going ahead and talking about. Now what Sumit is talking about in terms of Fitbit for machines is, the machines have always been talking to us. In fact, actually our solution, we have something called machine tweets, where we are going ahead and giving a voice and liberating those machines to go ahead and tell, saying that actually I'm having some problem, put up the hand and actually say that I need to go ahead and somebody should come in and actually address me. So that's the impact. And just like Fitbit, rather than actually hitting a cholesterol problem and after that thinking about it in terms of actually going ahead and taking certain corrective actions, do it in advance, continuously keep a tab on it and look at it in terms of taking some corrective actions.
American giant GE has a product similar to yours, and yet some of the biggest equipment makers in the world, like Henkel, Siemens, JBT for airport equipment, they go with a startup from India rather than an MNC like GE. Can you tell us how you got those contacts and why they chose you over a GE product which came out around the same time?
GE, if you really look at it, they defined this category. They created this category. The entire concept of industrial internet was thought through by GE, and they brought this entire thing out. Having said that, when we go ahead and actually meet a lot of our customers, I need to probably touch upon in terms of actually who our customers are. Our customers are original equipment manufacturers who have industrial machinery, probably actually $1.5 million. If I talk about it in terms of actually Stewart & Stevenson, which manufactures frac pumps, each frac pump is about actually $1.2 to $1.5 million worth of equipment. Or it could be in terms of actually other complicated aspects like, if I talk about Henkel, we work with the world's largest adhesive glue manufacturing plant. Henkel is the world's largest adhesive manufacturing producer. The world's largest manufacturing facility is something called the Henkel Dragon plant in Shanghai, and 500,000 tons of adhesive they produce. Every time the product comes out, it is important that actually it adheres to the close quality standards. And if it doesn't happen, there is a lot of impact actually from a cost of quality perspective. Any idea where all glue gets used? Can you imagine actually something between glue and aircraft that is there? Bombardier is a customer of Henkel. The wings of the Bombardier aircraft is stuck with a metal bonding glue. Now you can imagine actually if the glue doesn't work, what can happen on this. These are sensitive uses. Day before yesterday, I was actually visiting another customer of mine. These are actually someone called GTT. They are actually the world's largest LNG design engineers on this. They manufacture actually these large LNG carrying vessels. You can imagine that inside that vessel, it has to be kept at actually minus 180 degrees centigrade. So you are talking about actually a 200 degrees centigrade that needs to get managed by those vessels when the thing is being carried out. And I asked them actually, so you have multiple layers, how do you stick them? Plop, the answer came actually, we work very closely with Henkel because we are very proud of their quality, and we co-developed the adhesive along with Henkel. So I was equally proud in jumping up and saying that actually we help in that quality and actually keep it better on others. So a lot of use cases, a lot of things actually where we can do. Now coming to your question actually, Sumit, on the why we get chosen. There are about, I'll more talk actually from my customer's voice. A JBT, a Stewart & Stevenson or a Henkel, they went ahead and evaluated multiple industrial IoT platforms. But they found out two things or three things which kind of actually differentiated us. The first one was most of the other platforms are what we call as actually data-led platforms. They go with the claim saying that actually you throw in the data, we will try and actually understand the data and come back to you with a solution. It's like actually going ahead and telling a cardiac surgeon saying that I have a black box machine learning algorithm that is there, take up this person for surgery. he needs to actually go through a bypass surgery. I won't tell you why my algorithm is actually telling you that. It's just impossible. The same is true when it comes in terms of actually technicians. Technicians want to know if there are certain recommendations being done, why those recommendations are being done. Our platform, proud to say that on that count, we stand truly differentiated. The second aspect is more on the speed of implementation. How many of you carry a smartphone? Show of hands. Yeah, 75% of actually the audience are lifting us. Will you use a feature phone? I can see one hand, it is like actually Derek, I talked about my co-founder on this. The fact is that even phones have become smarter, but when you go ahead and talk about $1 million plus equipments, are they smart enough? So for those equipment manufacturers, it becomes very important that they are able to travel the journey in terms of going ahead and making their equipments faster. Now, when these equipment manufacturers go ahead and evaluate various solutions, the data-driven platforms typically take about 2 years to get implemented. And in fact, if I pick up actually some of the cases, 18 months they had evaluated something close to around 30 platforms, industrial IoT platforms, before we went in. 9th week, we went live with the pilot. So that speed with which we are able to address the targeted use case of helping original equipment manufacturers fast track becoming digital. I don't think there is any other platform in the world which helps in that targeted focused area, and that's where we get differentiated.
I'll move to Kayesh now. Kayesh, the popular perception of AI is of scientists working in labs and creating super intelligent beings. You have, brought AI to something as mundane as increasing sales. So, give us a sense of AI in a sort of everyday AI.
I think we've been using AI for longer than we know. All the gaming that's been going on and all the platforms people play with, these all have learning engines within them. It's what makes the games more difficult. And that's actually where a lot of the initial research came out of as well. But you've got all the fancy stuff happening now as well, right? Elon Musk's Tesla, right? That car has super intelligent AI that helps you navigate environments. Everybody knows about Google's automated self-driving car as well. The technology is prolific in everything we've been doing, and there's been a whole age of big data collection where we've been harvesting all this information, and organizations and scientists behind that have been leveraging that information to determine what else they can do with it. I think when you look in the home, right, simple things like your smartphones, right, the data now which you're able to send back to the manufacturers, or your voice recognition capabilities on your phone, it's all powered by AI. The new startups that are coming out, which I think are the most interesting things that are happening, and you can see how it's getting more prolific. You're seeing now there are actually emails being written to you by machines. In fact, when I interacted with David Corbett, he has an AI-based scheduling assistant. And my co-founder, when he was emailing David, he actually sent a really nice email to this agent. And she also responded really politely. So he thought that he was talking to a human. And it wasn't until about a month later that I spoke to David, and David introduced me to his AI assistant. And I found out that the person my co-founder was emailing was actually a machine. So this is far more prevalent than we think. And I think it's only going to get bigger.
A quick word about the AI sales gorilla you have and how that makes human sales reps smarter. What does it do? Yeah, Lucid.
So Lucid uses AI in the world of conversion rate optimization. It's the scene where when you visit a website, and I think we've all been there, you go to some e-commerce site, you take your mouse out the side of the window, and you get a pop-up, and you go back and you close it. The issue with those pop-ups today and those methods of engagement is that they come at the wrong time. They don't actually know when they're meant to be talking to you, because all of those are prescribed by humans. They're defined by people saying scroll down 30%, stay on the site for 5 seconds or more, and then something will come up at you and ask you to engage. Now, just with those, you see a conversion uplift, so you see more leads going to businesses, but they're quite cookie cutter. So what we're doing is we're learning about people's behavior and what makes you interact when you are likely to be more interested. And we tailor this learning to each site, to each visitor, based on their device, time, source, and a whole load of other signals you take, to then prompt at the correct time. So that's where we use the machine learning aspect of it.
You mentioned Tesla. Elon Musk says that humans will be like house cats in the world of AI. So when you go out there and pitch AI to clients, do you get resistance or even fear that your AI will somehow take over their businesses and their lives?
I think today people, especially in the context of sales and the way we pitch to them, which is we make your life easier, we give you less work to do, and you kind of set it and forget it, they're much happier, right? There's less headache. So because we make their job easier, there's very little resistance in terms of accepting it. Now, we have to, and they do ask the question, right, how is it learning, what happens, and we inform them that we collect all the information and we learn from it and we manage that as well. So they do ask the question, but I don't think there's any hesitation.
See, AI is not just about secret algorithms and neural networks. It really depends on the quality and quantity of data that you put into it for the AI machine to learn and become intelligent. Right now, I understand that you're getting data from your client websites and putting it into your AI machine and giving insights or insight reports back to them. If Lucid goes directly into the client websites, you get live data and obviously it gets much more powerful. Can you give us a sense of when you would go there and what is the challenge in going live on client websites?
So we've actually made it really easy. All a client has to do is copy and paste a small piece of code, drop it into their footer or install a plugin on WordPress, and we're up and running. We collect data instantly. So the challenge for the actual client is zero. There's nothing they have to do. It assumes its position and it just starts collecting straight away. And I think that's part of the beauty of AI, which is it does reduce work. It simplifies complicated tasks. And we were talking earlier, and one of the key parts about it is that the mission of AI is to make sure that it is easy to interact with, that it is easy to understand. So the hard job is making sure that all of those complicated outputs that you talk about are hidden from view.
Your clients, I mean, you told me that you're targeting small and medium businesses. Now, when you think of a high-tech product like AI, one would think you would, it's the big MNCs that you would be targeting. Like Krishnan has big MNC clients for his high-tech product. So what's the thinking behind AI for small and medium businesses?
So just like when the world of mechanization happened, it reduced the cost of manufacturing of goods because we were able to automate a whole load of tasks. And what artificial intelligence is capable of doing is it's able to automate away a lot of really complicated tasks. So tasks that you would regularly need someone to analyze all your data to determine which method of engagement on my site works better. That can now be assumed by the AI. Now, for small and medium businesses, getting somebody to do that for you is expensive, and it's difficult to try and find somebody that you can trust with all your data in terms of are they doing the right thing for me? Could I be getting better? All those sort of questions come out when you try to engage an agency or when you try to engage something through that for you. So this makes that step a little bit easier.
You want to explain that with an example of a client and that will make it easier to follow?
Sure. So when you actually implement a conversion rate optimization approach, so as I said, to pop up that modal, if it keeps coming up, let's just say when you drag the mouse out to exit the window, likelihood is you're not going to engage that person at the right time. So what happens is with a human, they will sit there and they will sample it over and over again to see when should I pop it up. Now, the historical issue with that is that you need a sufficient amount of traffic to make it worthwhile in terms of the tests you're running. And we're talking thousands and thousands of hits in the space of a short period of time, like a couple of weeks, in order to be able to assess whether or not that's viable. So when you get a human to do that, they're comparing across lots of vectors. They have to be able to try and cluster different types of segments of your customers to see, does this work better on an iPhone? Does it work better on a desktop? Does it work better on an Android phone? So the human themselves has to go through all of that. And that's actually quite difficult. Humans have an inherent disability when it comes to data, right? Because there's so much of it. And it is very difficult for us to begin segmenting beyond a certain number. So machines do this very easily. Right? For them, it's all just mathematics. We just move numbers around and it just works for them. So we're able to create hundreds of segments from one site without any issues and customize and tailor the engagement process for that site.
Let me now move to what the two of you have in common. Let's start with Krishnan. Krishnan, you would love to have AI in your machine learning to make those industrial machines even smarter, right?
No, absolutely it was. I was just about thinking I'll add on to what Gaish was mentioning. Let me give you actually some scale numbers. JBT, John Bean Technologies, the world's largest airport equipment manufacturer. 1.25 million equipments streaming in data at a second level. You can imagine. Talk about actually, say, a shale equipment manufacturer. 30,000 equipments, each equipment producing probably about 300 parameter readings every second. You can imagine actually what is flowing. 2,000 manufacturing lines producing adhesives. Henkel. You can imagine actually what is the data that will be getting streaming. It's almost humanly impossible, even if we go ahead and connect those and bring in visibility to people to go ahead and look at it in terms of actually monitoring it. From our perspective, this is where actually we stand completely different. We use something called episode detection. You can't actually focus it. Think about it. Let me go ahead and actually simplify it and actually call it ECG. A human is there and actually an ECG is coming in. A cardiologist can actually look at the ECG pattern and there is something wrong in the pattern. It gets identified as an episode. A set of episodes put together, you can now start actually predicting, saying that somebody is likely to get a heart attack or not. You make this visible to the doctor. The doctor is absolutely comfortable going ahead and saying that actually, yes, it is possible. I need to do some action at this point in time. Same is what we do at scale, at the level of machines actually that I talked about. Completely deep learning, you can't expect. So for example, Henkel, we ran into this situation where two manufacturing lines adjacent to each other went live on the same day when the plant was launched. One mixer and the other mixer, if you compare, the efficiency levels are poles apart. You have to look at addressing them individually. You can't do certain things which are actually cookie cutter across the entire thing. And it happens through machine learning, it happens through deep learning in being able to go ahead and manage things.
And Kayesh, for your AI, you would love to be able to capture the kind of data that he does with machine-to-machine data monitoring. How do you see AI and IoT working together?
I think it's hand in glove, right? These technologies, when you look at IoT, I mean, Krishna will know the volume, as he said, the volume of data points he collects. It's not humanly possible, and the only thing you can do is apply AI to it in order to get the value out of the data. When you take the stalwarts in the space, right, like Google, in terms of what they do, when they throw data at AI, they just let it try and figure out what the correlations are. Right? That is something which a human would be terribly bad at. Right? And when you talk about the world of IoT, where now everything is being connected. Right? Every device can be monitored. Every human, right, can. I mean, I wear a Fitbit too, right? So in terms of all of that tracking and getting humans to do this is very, very difficult. So as we start to produce more and more of this information, AI is the only logical path to go in order to make any sense of it. So I think they cut from the same cloth.
Okay, I think we've imparted enough AI and IoT knowledge for intelligent questions from the audience. So opening it up for questions, anybody has questions?
Can I ask a question, Sumit?
Too tough, your topic?
I just wanted to ask how many people are actually, so if there are any startups in the audience, how many are actually embedding it into their products today? Excellent.
Okay, I mean, while they're thinking about their questions, I'll ask about some of the fears that come with this kind of data monitoring and data analytics. For example, in industrial IoT, do you have an issue of hacking? I mean, we are all scared of hackers, right, and phones and websites. So what if hackers get access to these industrial machines? I mean, what happens in an airport?
No, a very, very relevant question, Sumit. Something actually which we get asked by our customers actually regularly. Just imagine you're flying in an aircraft and that's a connected aircraft. What if somebody is able to shut the engine down? The catastrophe that can happen is actually phenomenal. Think about actually a large-scale nuclear reactor being run, connected, and something actually absurd happens as part of that. Something very, very valid. But at the same time, Sumit, digital security, especially from a machine-to-machine and industrial IoT perspective, is also substantially improving. So for example, we are one of the 14 companies that Dell has identified to work with globally. And Dell manufactures actually these last mile gateways, smart gateways as we call it. They are able to control, Intel is another on this Wind River operating system. So they are able to control from the point at which the data is generated to a central layer where a platform like ours is actually going ahead and taking control, and vice versa. From our place, a decision originating and going back to the last mile, there is a heavy security that is actually already in play. Having said that, let me tell you, my customer, say a Henkel, does not do in terms of controlling the machine at this point in time. The last finger on the button, which goes ahead and takes a decision, as of today is still a human being.
But just to add on to that piece around security, they're actually already using AI to do traffic analysis and surface attack analysis, right, to determine when somebody may be trying to penetrate your network. So AI is already being used to detect the anomalies, right, and then perform necessary filtrations or blocks against an intruder.
At the back.
Hi. The question is to both gentlemen present on the stage. How far are we away from Skynet?
I will leave it to Karish to answer.
Right. Well, I'm not going to speak against Elon Musk. The guy's a genius, right? But I'd say pretty far away. iRobot, right? I'm sure a lot of us have seen that movie, was the ambition of all of us at university when we were doing our robotics course. And I think, so we saw iRobot, and if I describe to you what it was we were doing with robotics, we were using Lego with a chip that is probably about a fraction of the processing capability that we have today in our phones. And we had trouble getting that small robot on wheels, I may add, to the other side of the room and back reliably. Right? So, I mean, robotics has come a long way since then. But I don't think that's one of the fears that we need to have right now. Having said that, Google has published a recent piece of guidance, if you will, or research around how to intelligently interrupt machines that are goal-driven, that could potentially go in a direction that's not desired. So they're already building the safeguards in very early on. Right? I don't think you're seeing Terminator anytime soon.
Hi. So my question is with respect to data. Now, for example, GE has recently got a patent for getting data from a jet engine directly, and it will be uploaded live on the satellite or the. Now, you had mentioned it's a very high data-driven system. So it usually plays around 2 GB or 3 GB of data. How do you? It makes sense for a big company to invest in some tech where you can upload such a high traffic speed. But if you want to bring the small scale industry, how do you crunch this data and understand which, like, outliers are there or etc. Finding out which data should be uploaded or not, and how do you transfer all the data?
It's a pretty long question. Maybe we should connect outside. But let me quickly tell you this. It is not about the size of the manufacturer, or it is not about actually the size of the machine, or even cost of the machine for that matter. It is about the cost of the problem. So if a downtime can cost $100,000 per hour, it's a problem worth solving. How much ever actually sensors you want to go ahead and actually put it in, you will go ahead and actually put it in and actually make it work. The second quick element is, every industrial machinery manufacturer wants to remain connected. It's about money. Our target, for example, actually OEMs, 5%, and these are Gartner numbers on this, 5% to 30% of their revenues moving forward into the future is no longer by selling iron, is by providing digitized services around the equipments that you go ahead and sell. Today, the equipment, the moment it has gone out of the factory, your umbilical cord is cut. It's about continuously remaining in it. You can actually go ahead and provide audit services, you can provide state assessment services, you can provide predictive maintenance services, you can provide entire